shores ashore in Florida, now hurtling across the state. A massive Category 4 monster. 145-mile-an-hour winds tonight. Hurricane Charley. Target Southwest Florida, the most powerful storm since Hurricane Andrew. Tonight, Team Fox coverage of Charley, the damage he's leaving behind, and where he may go next. One day after the governor of New Jersey admitted he was having a gay affair and resigned, state Republicans are demanding that Jim McGreevey leave now. Suspected wife killer Mark Hacking getting a jailhouse visit. Plus a rush to the finish as the Olympic Games begin in Athens. And looking back at the life of a legend in the kitchen.
Covering the globe, fair and balanced. News at the speed of live. From New York, this is the Fox Report with Shepard Smith.
Florida walloped with a storm of catastrophic strength. The head of America's National Hurricane Center calls it a nightmare scenario that they hoped would not happen, but did. Hurricane Charley, a Category 4, picking up steam in the hours just before skirting Sanibel Island, then slamming into Boca Grande, heading up Charlotte Harbor and across Punta Gorda. Maximum winds howling in the vicinity of 145 miles an hour. A storm surge, a wall of water up to 15 feet high, and the rain expected to fall up to a half-foot or so. In fact, they've already gotten that at one local television station in Fort Myers. This morning, they were expecting their northern neighbors in Tampa to get the worst of Charley, but they were wrong, and now they're paying the price.
There's no electricity, so yeah, the power's out, completely out, so we're just going to wait it out.
I didn't know the hurricane was coming, so I guess I'm here to stick it out.
And the power is still out in many areas. Tornadoes have been and will continue to spawn from the mother storm. Property damage will run into the billions. The governor of Florida predicting $15 billion. And as strange as it sounds, it could have been worse. It could have hit, as it was expected to do, a few miles south in Fort Myers, or worse, a few miles north in Tampa, an area that's home to millions. Still, 2 million Floridians evacuated. Disney World shut down. Airplanes torn apart. Roofs ripped off. We have Team Fox coverage. Meteorologist Don Morelli at the Fox Weather Center with a look ahead. First, Jonathan Seri live tonight in Tampa. Jonathan?
Shepard, it indeed could have been much worse. Right now I'm standing in Tampa, the most populous city on Florida's west coast. Originally, they had predicted the eye would come right up Tampa Bay and there would be a storm surge of 16 feet. If that were the case, I would be standing under 16 feet of water because much of downtown Tampa is virtually at sea level. Instead, the eye of the storm struck approximately 100 miles south of where I'm standing, near the city of Charlotte Harbor, causing some major damage in that area. In fact, a Fort Myers TV station reporting that a hospital in Charlotte County has suffered severe damage. Doctors at that hospital trying to find beds for some 200 patients at other area hospitals. Meanwhile, the eye of the storm continues to move into central Florida. It made landfall as a Category 4 storm, but they believe it will be downgraded to a Category 2 before the eye of the storm strikes somewhere near the city of Orlando. All of the theme parks were shut down today because of the weather, but that city still has plenty of tourists visiting and, ironically, many evacuees from Tampa who went to Orlando thinking it would be safe. Shep, back to you.
All right, Jonathan Seri live tonight in Tampa. Charley's twists and turns leaving meteorologists scrambling. Now that it has made landfall, they have to predict where it'll go next. All along the eastern seaboard, people watching and waiting for news on how wet they'll get and whether the high winds will threaten them and their families. Team Fox coverage continues now. Meteorologist Don Morelli live at the Fox Weather Center. Don?
Hi, Shepard. Boy, what a busy day in the Weather Center. You just saw that graphic of where we think the storm is going overnight tonight. But let's back up just a bit. As the storm moved towards Fort Myers, it took a quick right turn around mid-morning, late morning, and then it became obvious Tampa was going to get spared. But again, Charlotte Harbor was the point of entry, and the storm surge up to 18 feet on some sections. But now that the storm is now into central sections of the state, the winds are now shifting around. So the return winds are now starting to push the waters back, which is good news. But again, again, the rains continue, the winds continue. As you mentioned, Shepard, possibly Category 2 type winds expected in the Orlando area. Here's the moisture shield moving in towards central sections of Florida. Again, looks like the bulk of the strongest winds in the Orlando area during the 8 o'clock hour. After that, it'll be moving towards Daytona Beach around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. It'll start moving back offshore. And again, by then, it still would be a very strong Category 1, it looks like. And overnight tonight, during the first half of tomorrow, it'll make a beeline towards the Carolinas. So again, this storm is going to be widespread felt across much of the southeast during the next 24 hours. Janice is coming back around 7:30 with a closer look at the path again. So we'll have more details in about a half hour.
And you can track that at foxnews.com. Don, thanks. So what areas got the worst of it? Well, some places are still inaccessible. The barrier islands off Fort Myers, Sanibel, and Captiva, still very little information. Boca Grande, Gasparilla Island to the north, where the Bush family vacations and has for years, hit hard, but still no reports from there. In Port Charlotte, as Jonathan Seri mentioned, St. Joseph's Hospital sustaining heavy damage and looking to transport more than 200 patients out of harm's way to other area hospitals. The low-lying areas of Charlotte County, north of Fort Myers, near the town of Punta Gorda, got slammed, as did Port Charlotte, which was said to be hit with a 15-foot wall of water and very heavy winds. Our producer, David Lekowicz, our Atlanta producer, is on the video phone now with a damage report from Port Charlotte. David, what do you know?
That's right, Shepard. We're in Port Charlotte. My photographer, Joel Fagan, and I drove down from Tampa a little bit earlier, just as the storm was coming ashore. We believe this is very close to the eye of the storm. It sustained a lot of damage, somewhat unexpected, since the storm was expected to hit land a little bit further up the Gulf Coast. Where we are, there are many signs down, gas pumps blown over at gas stations, electric poles strewn across the street, and many emergency vehicles we see around. When we first arrived here, as the storm was coming through, we saw no life in this town. It is now coming back to life as people are trying to see what damage was actually sustained. As Jonathan said earlier, about 200 patients trying to be transported out of a hospital here that sustained some damage. When we arrived, storm chasers were here, and they said they recorded wind speeds in the neighborhood of 130 to 140 miles an hour. We are now seeing winds closer to the 25 to 30 mile an hour range, but the damage here is severe. Wires down, there is flooding. It was hit with somewhat of a wall of water, and we are seeing the remnants of Hurricane Charley that came through Port Charlotte with a vengeance. Shep?
Hey, David, a couple of quick questions. This doesn't look like a Category 4. Buildings are standing, right? No reports of severe injuries, right?
We do not see any buildings that have come over, but we do see a lot of trees that came down, a lot of light posts that are strewn over, and some roofs that were ripped off some buildings, like the gas station straight across the street from where I'm standing. But we do not have any reports of any serious injuries. It looks to us from where we're standing like this little town, despite the damage it sustained, is very lucky.
Man, David, that's good news. Thanks very much. Of course, the worst of it all should have been right there, and the hope is that this storm, which was 145 miles an hour as was hitting the shore, maybe didn't do as much damage as many had feared and as meteorologists were predicting. The last reports we will get most likely will be from barrier islands. Sanibel and Captiva hit head-on by that eye wall in the early going, about 3:30 this afternoon Eastern Time. No reports from there just yet. Power is out and flooding is said to be widespread. Marco Island to the south off Collier County, no reports from there yet, though we do not believe damage to be severe. Boca Grande to the north, still no reports from there either. We'll be up with you throughout the night to get you updated. Now, the storm in front of Charley, spinning off tornadoes in North Carolina. Remnants of Tropical Storm Bonnie continue to cause trouble in the southeast and pushing northward. One twister killed 3 people, including a toddler in a trailer park north of Raleigh. The county sheriff there calling it the worst he's ever seen. The tornado trashing dozens of homes, plus a church and senior citizen center. Bonnie expected to dump heavy rains on its way up to New England. Charley taking its toll on Cuba before ramming into Florida. The hurricane sweeping across the island's nation, passing just west of downtown Havana. Charley was still a Category 2 at that time, with maximum sustained winds at 125 miles an hour. It ripped off roofs, down power lines, and yanked up huge palm trees. That storm has killed at least 3 people there, and much more coming on that storm. But first, a new development following yesterday's resignation of the New Jersey Governor Jim McGreevey. And word now, it was not an affair. It was sexual harassment, or that's the word from the lawyer for a former aide to New Jersey's governor. Jim McGreevey coming out of the closet in dramatic fashion yesterday, claiming he had a consensual affair with another man. But Golan Sippel's lawyer reading a statement from his client accusing McGreevey of sexual harassment.
While employed by one of the most powerful politicians in the country, New Jersey Governor McGreevey, I was the victim of repeated sexual advances by him.
So far, Sippel has not filed suit, and now the FBI is on the case. Todd Connor with the Fox Report Live tonight from Trenton, New Jersey. Todd?
Shep, if Governor McGreevey thought that resigning would resolve his problems, he's wrong. His former lover, Golan Sippel, seems determined to seek any form of justice he can, though money, he says, was never the ultimate goal. He turned the tables on the governor, saying McGreevey's office tried to pay him to go away, and through his attorney accused the governor of concocting a $5 million extortion scheme simply to smear his name.
I was the victim whose oppressor was one of the most powerful politicians who made sure to let me know that my future was in his hands.
Now, McGreevey, who showed up briefly at his office in the State House today, raised a lot of eyebrows when he appointed Sippel to a $110,000 job as a Homeland Security advisor, even though Sippel seemed to have no experience in that area at all. The FBI is now investigating McGreevey for alleged corruption, saying he may have used public funds illegally to try to pay off his lover. Meanwhile, New Jersey's Republican leadership is calling for McGreevey to step down now rather than November 15th, saying this isn't all about McGreevey's sexual preferences, as he might have many believe, but it's rather about the ongoing corruption, rather, in his administration. Shep, that's the latest from here after a long day. Back to you.
Todd Connor live in Trenton, New Jersey. Mark Hacking's parents visiting their son in jail. It's believed to be their first meeting since he was charged with murdering his wife. And his parents sending a message to their grieving in-laws. Kobe Bryant's lawyers have a request for the judge, and this time the prosecution agrees. And we're live in the middle of Hurricane Charley. It was a Category 4 monster. We're waiting for late reports from Barrier Islands. Then the storm set to exit somewhere between Jacksonville and the Space Coast, end up out in the Atlantic where it can reconstitute and begin to target the Carolinas. Team Fox coverage from the Fox News Hub in New York and Fox News teams around the globe. This is news at the speed of live. You're on the Fox Report from America's newsroom.
Honey, we should get that new Jaguar.
Is something telling you it's time to get a Jaguar? Presenting the Unleash a Jaguar sales event. Lease an X-Type 3.0 for $349 a month at your local Jaguar retailer. Unleash one today. See the Jaguar XJR in Catwoman in theaters now.
Everyone, Verizon Wireless is offering camera phones for only $49.99.
For a second there, I thought he wanted us out of the water.
But the deal ends August 22nd.
It's the Verizon Wireless Summer Splash event. Hurry into a Verizon Wireless store to get a new Samsung camera phone with built-in flash and zoom for just $49.99. But you gotta snap to it. This offer ends August 22nd. It's the Summer Splash event. Good. Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
Our son was born with liver disease. He had heart surgery when he was 3 months old, and he had his liver transplant when he was 7 months old. It's nice to know that I work for a company that would take care of everything we went through with my son. You can think of the Mayo Clinic, you know. It's the best place they could have found. I don't think people know how great the benefits are at Walmart. Without Walmart, he wouldn't. I don't know that he'd made it. I don't know that we would have made it.
Florida's natural premium orange juice is made just from our fresh oranges, not from concentrate. We own the land, the trees, and the company. It's as close to the Grove as you can get.
You know, more and more men are making the move to Levitra. Maybe it's time you discovered what all the excitement's about.
Make your move today. Ask your doctor if a free trial of Levitra is right for you. Levitra, when it counts.
The new Iraqi government is worse than Saddam. That's the latest rant from the radical cleric Muqtada al-Sadr. It comes just as there was talk of a truce to end 9 days of fighting in the holy city of Najaf. Al-Sadr calling for Iraq's, quote, dictatorial government to resign and vowing to stay in Najaf until he achieves victory or martyrdom. Brett Baer, the national security correspondent with the Fox Report live from the Pentagon. Brett?
Shep, a pause in offensive operations and more taunting from the man leading the militia causing all the problems. The heaviest fighting today was in Sadr City, the East Baghdad neighborhood named for the father of radical cleric Muqtada al-Sadr. Today, the fighters on the streets pledged allegiance to the sun. In Najaf, where Sadr is still believed to be hiding, an eerie calm after a day of intense fighting in the city center. U.S. and Iraqi forces paused today to allow Iraqi leaders to try to negotiate a peaceful end to the standoff there. Sadr's spokesman said today the radical cleric was wounded in Thursday's fighting by flying shrapnel, non-life-threatening wounds. But late in the day, Sadr, through his spokesman again, urged Iraq's interim government to resign and pledged that his militia would fight to the death or victory in Najaf. Secretary of State Colin Powell acknowledged today the situation in Najaf is tense.
Our forces in Najaf are squeezing the city, frankly, to help stabilize the situation and deal with the Mahdi army.
Powell emphasized, as every U.S. official has, that the Iraqis are in the lead on this situation in Najaf. He said, quote, the U.S. troops do not in any way wish to get involved with the Imam Ali Mosque, the holiest site in Shia Islam. Shep.
Brett Baer live at the Pentagon. The director of the National Hurricane Center calls it the nightmare scenario that's been talked about for years. Not since 1960, since Eisenhower was in the White House, has Southwest Florida seen anything like this. Still assessing the damage, still trying to find out injury reports. We're live at the Fox Weather Center with the latest on the storm's path. Mark Hacking's parents visiting their son in jail, and on the way out, making a special request. She was the Food Network, or was there before there was one. Julia Child giving America a taste of her home cooking for decades tonight, saying goodbye to a culinary legend.
You're watching The Fox Report with Shepard Smith on the network America trusts for fair and balanced news.
This program is brought to you by Fuji Photo Film, a leading provider of professional and broadcast audio and video recording products.
Mom, Dad, I got in.
Wow!
Congratulations.
Ivy League. That's so great. Imagine that. Ivy League. Can you believe it? Sweetie, this is Vladimir. He'll be renting the upstairs bedroom.
Honey, I'm getting a home equity loan to pay for college.
Want banks to compete over you? Come to LendingTree.com. Now you can get home equity rates as low as 4% APR. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com.
Next time you start on your way, think about the gasoline you choose. Introducing Shell V-Power, our new premium grade gasoline. It's our most advanced fuel ever. With more than 5 times the required cleaning agents, it's specially formulated to actively clean your engine as you drive. You have enough to deal with out there. Your gasoline can make a difference if it's new Shell V-Power.
Only one Power toothbrush brand is the most used and recommended by dental professionals. Sonicare Elite by Philips, with patented sonic technology and bristle tips that move 3 times faster than all other leading Power toothbrushes for a deep cleaning experience unlike any other. Sonicare Elite removes stains and reverses gingivitis. For whiter teeth and healthier gums, guaranteed. Stop blushing. Start Sonicare.
Have you been in an accident of any kind? Any stalling, sputtering, that kind of thing?
Don't buy a used car without a Carfax history report. Now with the buyback guarantee. For details, ask your dealer or go to Carfax.com.
Honey, I'm home. You didn't start yet? You watch upstairs.
Cheese it. Get your own box.
The boys of summer are back on CSS. Every Thursday night through August 28th, CSS takes the field for live South Atlantic League baseball. Follow the big league stars of tomorrow in the South Atlantic League Game of the Week. Settle in for summer-long coverage of baseball the way it was meant to be. Your couch and the dugout are closer than you think. Don't miss South Atlantic League baseball every Thursday night on CSS, your source for Southeast sports. Available only on cable.
It's Toyota time, the nationwide clearance event, the year's biggest event. You've got to act now. Time's running out to get a new 04 Highlander, the most fuel-efficient SUV in its class. And get 0% financing or $750 cash back. Or get $750 back on any new 04 4Runner or full-size V8 Sequoia. Toyota time. Selection, value, clearance. See your Toyota dealer before it all ends August 31st.
Hurricane Charley slamming into Florida, but not where everyone expected it to hit, or not exactly. The storm leaving its original path in the Tampa area and making landfall about 85 miles south in Charlotte County, north of Fort Myers. The storm swamping the shore with maximum sustained winds of 145 miles an hour and a wall of water said to be up to 15 feet tall. Damage widespread, but homes are not destroyed, and there are no reports of injuries except for one, a weather-related death, as reported by WINK television in Fort Myers. The wind slapping trees to the ground, blowing out windows, mangling fences, and ripping the roof off a hospital as frightened doctors and patients huddled inside, we're told. Cops say the hurricane lifted a tractor-trailer into a car, killing one child inside. And those are just the first reports we're now getting as folks there are now starting to venture outdoors. President Bush has declared a major disaster in the state of Florida, meaning federal funding is on the way. We'll have continuing coverage of this storm at the bottom of the hour with live reports from the scene, plus another check with the Fox Weather Center that's just a few minutes away. Well, the parents of the murder suspect Mark Hacking visiting their son in jail. It's believed to be the first time the couple's seen Mark since he was charged with killing his wife. His mother emerging from that jail and offering her thoughts on Lori.
Want her to be found. Pray for Thelma and her family. Pray for comfort for them. And hope that people will forgive our family and pray for us.
Well, search teams spent a 10th night at a Salt Lake City landfill looking for Lori Hacking, but still no sign of her body. Lori's family plans to hold a memorial service for her tomorrow. No testimony today in the Scott Peterson trial, but late yesterday, the jury finally heard Scott confess to Fry that he'd been lying and heard Amber grill Scott over the fact that 2 weeks before Lacey Peterson disappeared, he told her that he'd lost his wife.
How can you not expect me or to even think or even to let this pass that you possibly could plan this?
I did nothing like that.
Oh, well then again, this is the biggest coincidence ever.
Well, the judge telling the jury members before they left for the weekend that they'll likely hear 2 more days of taped conversations between Amber and Scott. Then on Wednesday, Amber's expected to take the stand and answer questions about them. Reports are Kobe Bryant has decided not to waive his right to a speedy trial. His lawyers now asking the judge to deny the prosecution's motion to delay that trial. Prosecutors have also joined Bryant's rape accuser in arguing against the judge's gag order. They say it makes it possible, or impossible that is, for them to rebut rumors on the internet or recently released court transcripts. Michael Jackson set to make another court appearance. The Associated Press reports that Jackson Monday will attend a special hearing. District Attorney Tom Snedden is expected to testify there. The defense subpoenaed him, saying he violated Jackson's attorney-client privilege by seizing audio tapes from the office of a private investigator with ties to Jackson. His supporters say the DA is prosecuting him on child molestation charges because of a personal vendetta. Well, Julia Child, the American folk hero whose TV shows and books taught millions of intricacies of French cooking, has died. Child, known as the French chef, preached not only enjoying great food, but sharing it as well. She was no snob. Friends say she bought Wonder Bread, loved iceberg lettuce, and enjoyed hamburgers and beer. During World War II, she joined the OSS, the forerunner to the CIA. Julia Child died in her sleep 2 days before her 92nd birthday. Hurricane Charley making landfill and dumping inches of rain, now 7 inches at one location in Fort Myers. Its winds and its storm surge causing massive damage. We're live where it's all unfolding. China hit with its most powerful typhoon in years. More than 100 people killed. And we have the pictures from this storm. And let the games begin. Amid the threats of terror and the loss of power and the warnings to keep those flags down, the Olympic Games are set to start where it all began centuries ago.
Velocity meets versatility. The all-new Hemi-powered Dodge Magnum. Open it up from either end. Want more? Get going. You only have until August 31st to get $1,000 bonus cash on the new Hemi-powered Dodge Magnum.
You know, we could just go to FedEx Kinko's. They've got copying, printing, shipping, all the latest technology. And there's always one around. Just a thought.
The new FedEx Kinko's. Make it, print it, pack it, ship it. Our office is your office.
Imagine how much energy it takes to fuel an entire city of 1 million households, day and night, for 6 years. That's how much energy Kerr-McGee will recover from just one deep water field with just one production spar that produces offshore oil and gas where we couldn't before. Nobody delivers America's energy to Americans like the deep water explorers of Kerr-McGee.
Need fast cash to consolidate bills or pay off credit cards? Call or log on to Ditech.com and apply for a home equity loan with a no closing cost option. Just call 1-800-DITECH-1.
Orbitz makes it easy to find your trip. The Orbitz Matrix shows more low fares than anyone. More hotels, more cars. Find more. Orbitz and go.
Florida feels the full force of Hurricane Charley. As thousands flee its destructive path, we have live reports as events unfold. Tonight, join Shepard Smith at 11 for complete coverage. Then tomorrow for updates, watch Fox and Friends starting at 6 a.m. Saturday, his flip-flopping record, his ties to big business. How will voters respond? Beltway boys. Then, allegations of bribery and sexual harassment. A look at the resignation of Governor McGreevey. Fox News Watch. On the most watched, most trusted name in cable news, Fox News Channel.
The big news of the day just 2 minutes away now, but first, the games of the 28th Olympiad opening tonight in Athens, Greece. Despite the construction delays, the fear of power outages, and the security concerns, organizers say finally they are ready. To Athens now for a Fox report from Dana Lewis.
Right up until the last second, construction crews today still working at Athens' main Olympic Stadium, where the roof was only slid into place a few weeks ago. At almost every venue, final touches by Greek workers saying they've never had to push so hard.
The last month, we worked very hard.
Greece says it's already 35 big, shiny new competition venues done. And that's nothing short of a miracle in a country some people joke hasn't rushed any major project since the Acropolis was built 2,500 years ago. 4 years ago, the International Olympic Committee threatened to take the games away from a slow-moving Greece.
We were sure that most of the venue would be ready, but not necessarily all of them, and therefore it's a very good surprise.
It took a change of government to get things moving, including 75 miles of new roads and highways with Olympic lanes to ease Athens' legendary traffic jams, new transit lines, trams, and trains. Athens Mayor Dora Bakoyannis admits it all got done because Greeks refused to give up.
I wouldn't be the mayor of Athens if I would desperate. No, it never happened. I was worried, yes, afraid, yes.
Greece being ready in the nick of time, not only nerve-wracking, it is extremely costly. Greece expected to spend $5.5 billion on these games, and the final price tag is likely to be double that.
Ticket sales and tourism are slow. So far, Greece is 1 million tickets shy of its target for the games. And today the games open with Greece's hottest doping scandal ever. Two of Greece's top sprinters, Olympic medalists Kostas Kanteras and Katerina Thanu, disappeared from the Olympic Village and failed to show up for a mandatory drug test after a motorcycle accident. Tonight, both remained in hospital during the lighting of the Olympic flame. In Athens, Dana Lewis, Fox News.
From America's leading news network, this is the Fox Report. It's the bottom of the hour. Time for the top of the news. Through his new lawyer, the New Jersey former Homeland Security advisor says the Governor McGreevey made repeated sexual advances toward him. Governor McGreevey announcing his resignation yesterday, saying he had a consensual affair with a man. The militant Iraqi cleric Muqtada al-Sadr vowing to fight till the death from his Najaf stronghold. Today, the radical religious leader calling on Iraq's interim government to step down. And Hurricane Charley bashing its way onshore north of Fort Myers, Florida. The Category 4 storm with maximum sustained winds at 145 miles an hour then, causing all sorts of problems, and now seeming that it's going to Disney World. A Fox Report now from the Foxcaster, Janice Dean at the Weather Wall. Janice?
Hi, Shepard. Yes, it could reach Orlando in the next several hours. We are watching Charley pretty closely. Here's what it looks like right now. Again, point of entry was Charlotte Harbor, 109-mile-per-hour gusts of winds, and the point of entry, Punta Gorda, 18-foot. We could see 18-foot surges with this one. We don't have the storm reports yet. Of course, we're going to get those overnight, and we're going to take a look at where it could land eventually. There's the port of inception. We moved through the islands, Cuba and Jamaica, and then, of course, we did think it was going to move into the Tampa. It moved southward into the Charlotte Harbor area, and then it sort of is moving right now at around 22 miles per hour, moving north-northeast. We think it's going to hit Orlando in the next several hours, and then perhaps Daytona. And then where is it going to go next? We think it's going to move into the Atlantic for a short period of time, and then move up to the Carolinas, and then eventually to the northeast. This is a quick-moving storm, Shepard. We're going to keep watch of it. Mostly we'll see tornado watches and warnings for the rest of the evening, and again, we won't see some of those storm reports till late this evening into tomorrow. And also, we have two other storms we are watching. One of them in the Antilles, and one of them near the African coast. They are tropical depressions. Once they become storms, their names will become Danielle and Earl. It's going to be a busy season.
Yeah, I'd say, Janice, looking up the coast there, is it your sense, if we can see that storm plot there, is it your sense that the thing is going to get any stronger when it gets offshore, and by the time it exits at Jacksonville or Daytona, is it still a hurricane or what?
There's a chance. Right now, it's still Category 2. We think 90-mile-per-hour gusts. It is going to move through Orlando, we think, as still a Category 2.
You know, key there, though, Janice, is does it go south and east of Orlando or cross right over it? Because if it's south and east, then Orlando and Disney ought to be okay.
Absolutely, but we're going to take all those precautions because we never know with Mother Nature. She could always change her mind.
Yeah, I'd say this thing's been wobbling enough. We'll keep you updated throughout the night. And don't forget an 11 p.m. special, 11 Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific tonight after that storm we believe will be out in the Atlantic. Charley pounding west central Florida with 145-mile-an-hour winds initially, and that wall of water that Janice mentioned that could be 15, 18 feet. No one's quite sure. Forecasters trying to figure out how Charley's next move will happen up the coast or out to sea. But we know that one of the harder hit areas was in Port Charlotte, Florida. Again, our producer, David Lukowitz, is there. He's on the video phone with an update from Port Charlotte, Florida. Hey, David, anything more on this hospital and what happened there?
Hey, Chef, what we can ascertain, what we know right now is about 200 patients are being evacuated from the local hospital with sustained some damage. Most of those patients are, I'm told, are being transferred down to the Fort Myers area, because here in Port Charlotte there is a lack of power. There are power lines down, light posts on the power line, lots of accumulating water, and signs down everywhere you look. This little community was hit with a wall of water, we're told, about 15 feet tall, and it was not expected. People were expecting the storm to come ashore further up the Gulf Coast in Tampa. So most businesses down here were not boarded up. But there are no reports of a lot of many injuries down here, which is a good thing. And people are finally breathing life back into this little town, trying to ascertain where to begin the cleanup. Yep.
Hey, David, you know, 3 hours after a Category 4 storm hits the place and the streets are loaded with cars. That's a little surprising to see, you know?
It is amazing. My photographer Joel Fagan and I left Tampa, and we literally hit Port Charlotte. We literally hit Port Charlotte as the eye of the storm was coming through. And there were wind gusts here in the neighborhood of 130 to 140 miles an hour, as we were told by some storm chasers. And you did not see a soul in this town besides us and some of the storm chasers. It was surprising. But now, as you said, there are lots of people back trying to figure out where to begin the cleanup.
And reports of damage from those barrier islands just coming in. Updates as we get them. There is breaking news now on Fox News Channel, and the judge in the Kobe Bryant case has just denied the prosecution's request for an indefinite continuance of that trial. The prosecution said it wanted to delay because the closed-door evidence that was released to the public would taint the jury pool. The judge has said that will not happen. People in China are cleaning up after getting pounded by what they're calling the most powerful typhoon to hit that country in 7 years. The government says the storm destroyed 42,000 homes and damaged tens of thousands of other buildings. The typhoon killing 115 people and injuring more than 1,800 at last report. A government official says collapsing houses caused most of the deaths. It's been a tough summer in China with massive flooding, a strong earthquake, and now this. As you decide, 04, the Bush and Kerry camps sharing the campaign spotlight in the same city. This time it's Portland, Oregon. The president telling Oregonians that his administration will fight for more federal money to help the state's economy. And Senator Kerry seizing on a new congressional study that says it backs up his claim that the president's tax cuts have helped the wealthy and hurt the middle class. We have Team Fox coverage from Portland tonight. James Rosen with the Bush camp. But first, Carl Cameron, the chief political correspondent with the Kerry camp. Carl?
Hi, Shep. Well, here on the banks of the Willamette River in downtown Portland, Oregon, John Kerry had a massive rally open to the general public. The Kerry campaign making the distinction between the president's events, where they were by invitation only and comparatively smaller, and Senator Kerry today continuing his 2-week focus on the domestic agenda. Today, he wraps up his cross-country Believe in America tour here in Portland, and he seized on that Congressional Budget Office report, a nonpartisan study that suggests that the tax cuts passed by President Bush over the last 4 years have in fact shifted the tax burden away from the rich and onto the backs of the middle class. Senator Kerry's been complaining about that for months on the campaign trail, and today unleashed one big fat "I told you so." Here's how he put it.
Just today, the independent, nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office released its own independent report that says that under this administration, the tax burden of the wealthy has gone down, and the tax burden of the working American middle class has gone up.
Look for that to be a constant refrain from Senator Kerry as he campaigns across the country in these battleground states. Oregon is considered one of the swing states. The polls suggest that Senator Kerry does have a slight advantage over President Bush outside the margin of error. This is a state that Al Gore won narrowly in 2000. John Kerry would very much like to keep it in the blue category, a Democratic winner, but there is some dispute over what exactly the economic situation is in this state. Oregon has a 6.8% unemployment rate, the second highest in the country, only to Alaska, well above the nation's 5.5% unemployment average, and that has Democrats smelling blood. On the other hand, Republicans haven't pushed back. Their ammunition is to point out that job growth in Oregon is among the fastest and strongest in the country, second only to Nevada. Certainly that'll be what President Bush will be emphasizing. Shep?
Carl Cameron live in Portland, and at the same time, Kerry was speaking. President Bush was holding his own rally just outside Portland, Oregon, and saying Kerry's tax plan would wreck the economy. The president telling the crowd his tax cuts are paying off, and saying lots of rich people dodge their taxes anyway, so everyone else will always end up paying more. Our Team Fox coverage continues now. James Rosen with the Fox Report live from Portland. James.
Shepard, good evening. President Bush today pressing the advantages of being an incumbent, showing up in this state that he lost by just 7,000 votes last time around to announce a multi-million-dollar project near and dear to the hearts of residents here. Appearing at the Portland Rivergate Industrial Park, President Bush committed the federal government to spending $15 million to deepen a 104-mile stretch of the Columbia River, a major waterway for grain exports worth $15 billion in trade business last year. The engineering work is underway, the president said, and they'll start moving mud next year. Then the president came to Beaverton's South Ridge High School, where he again depicted Senator Kerry as having shifted his position on everything from the war in Iraq to wildfire prevention. The president also claimed the economy is getting strong, and in acknowledging Oregon's unusually high jobless rate, the chief executive portrayed the state, like the nation, as headed in the right direction.
Nationwide, the unemployment rate's 5.5%. Here in the state of Oregon, you've been struggling. After all, your resource industry got hit hard. High-tech got hit hard. The recession hurt. Your unemployment rate, however, has gone from 8.7% to 6.8%. It's getting better, but there's more work to do.
At this hour, the president has been visiting with workers at a Boeing delivery center in Seattle, promising to keep American manufacturing competitive with the Europeans. Shep.
And live in Portland, Oregon. And as you decide, 04, the Friday campaign cuts and 3 presidential debates tentatively set for the fall, and 3 different journalists will serve as moderators. The commission in charge of the debates selecting Jim Lehrer from PBS, who did all of them in 2000, along with Charlie Gibson of ABC and Bob Schieffer of CBS. They'll moderate 1 debate each. The candidates are still working out the detail of those debates. Ukraine's defense minister says his country will keep its military force in Iraq for the foreseeable future. His announcement coming today during a visit by the Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. The former Soviet Republic has 1,600 soldiers in Iraq. That's the 4th largest contingent of Allied soldiers helping the United States. Rumsfeld praised Ukraine for its support. 4 detainees at Gitmo will be staying put. The Pentagon reviewing their cases and deciding they are really enemy combatants. They were the first of almost 24 cases the Defense Department plans to review. The decision is made by a military panel, and the detainees cannot appeal. A detention hearing for a Pakistani man caught videotaping various skyscrapers in Charlotte, North Carolina. The feds arresting him last month on immigration charges. He was carrying a videotape with shots of a dam in Texas and public transportation in Atlanta, New Orleans, Dallas, and Houston, as well as the Charlotte buildings. Investigators trying to figure out whether he had anything to do with terror. A growing gap tops your Friday Biz Brief. The U.S. trade deficit hitting a record in the month of June, almost $56 million. That was higher than economists had expected. One of the reasons, a run-up in oil prices. And those very oil prices setting a new high today, closing for the first time at $46.58 a barrel. Traders worried about the developments in Iraq and a vote this weekend to recall the president of Venezuela. Consumer confidence taking a dip this month. The University of Michigan Index showing Americans do not think the economy is going to be strong in the months ahead. But the survey found many people do believe things are good right now. Dell sells, the world's largest PC maker, reporting its second quarter earnings jumped nearly 30%. The reason given? Strong sales of printers, servers, and a double-digit increase in overall sales. The Fed's urging a bankruptcy court to reject plans by United Airlines to stop funding its employee pension funds. United announced it would no longer be putting money toward employee retirement accounts as long as it's in bankruptcy. The government argues that it's against the law and that it puts everyone's pension at risk. Record oil prices weighing on investors. Stocks gaining some ground, but not a lot. The NASDAQ up but just a little to 1757. The Dow up but just a little to finish at 98.25.
Coming up.
It was billed as a 1-2 punch. First, a weak jab from Bonnie, then a powerful one, an uppercut even from Charley. The latest on the path of the storm and a new update on its location. That's coming from the Fox Weather Center in minutes. Anger boiling over from supporters of North Korea's communist government. Hundreds of them setting their sights on the U.S. Embassy in Seoul, South Korea. That as Fox reports live across Florida and up the East Coast.
If you have great credit, shouldn't you get a better rate on your home equity line? At eLoan, you do. We process your loan differently, online. That costs less, so you get a great rate with no lender fees. Apply today at eLoan.com.
you are, wherever you're going. T-Mobile hotspot locations are with you throughout your day. Wi-Fi internet service for your laptop or PDA. T-Mobile. Get more.
Hey, this XL7 is a Consumer's Digest Best Buy.
People are talking about the SUV with room for 7, and there's never been a better time to drive one home. Suzuki XL7's list of features speaks for itself. So does America's #1 warranty. The only one with 100,000 miles, no deductible, and that's fully transferable. The Suzuki XL7. Ready to make the smart move? See the XL7 for yourself. Drive home the XL7 for just $18,599. See your Suzuki dealer now.
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message. My most solemn duty is to lead our nation to protect ourselves. I can't imagine the great agony of a mom or a dad having to make the decision about which child to pick up first on September the 11th. We cannot hesitate. We cannot yield. We must do everything in our power to bring an enemy to justice before they hurt us again.
My simple solution, Mylanta.
My quick fix, Mylanta. For your heartburn, Mylanta soothes and calms on contact.
My way to go, Mylanta.
My security blanket, Mylanta. And now there's a new sensation of cool. New orange cream Mylanta. My easy answer for heartburn. My heartburn, Mylanta.
The governor of South Carolina says he's anticipating scenes like this one to replay in the state by early tomorrow. So he's ordering coastal residents in Horty and Georgetown counties to evacuate now. The order comes after a shift in the forecast for the storm's path. The governor saying Charley has proved to be an unpredictable storm, and he is right about that. The current forecast is that Charley will strike the Myrtle Beach area tomorrow as either a strong tropical storm or a weak hurricane. Tonight, we're expecting it to pass somewhere in the Orlando area, then out Daytona and out to sea. We'll update its condition and its location in just a minute. A shootout at the entrance to a Jewish settlement in the West Bank today. A Palestinian police officer ambushing the car of an Israeli security guard, killing him. Then other Israeli guards killing the gunman, we're told. In Jerusalem, Israel's army chief saying the country would not be threatened if it gave up the Golan Heights in exchange for peace with Syria. That is certainly a departure from the military's traditional view that Israel needs some of that land as a security barrier. Riot cops and students go at it in South Korea, and a guy who cannot stop celebrating Christmas in Lithuania as we go around the world in 80 seconds. South Korea. Students and riot police facing off in Seoul. About 1,000 members of a pro-North Korean student group trying to march to the U.S. Embassy. The protesters claim the Bush administration opposes the reunification of the Korean peninsula. Cops broke up the demonstration. Venezuela. Thousands of people attending rallies in Caracas, both for and against President Hugo Chavez. The final day of campaigning before voters go to the polls on Sunday. They'll decide whether Chavez should remain in office or be recalled. Lithuania. A retired electrician loves holidays, especially Christmas and New Year's, which is why his holiday decorations never come down. His collection includes 20,000 bulbs and 3,000 toys. He says he spends about $100 a month adding new items, and you'd better believe he's got a big electricity bill, about $700 a month. Belgium. Every 2 years, Brussels carpets the city's central square with flowers. The design's different each time, but the need for lots of flowers stays the same, about 800,000 begonia blossoms. Governments and private donors chip in to pay the $60,000 price tag, and that's a wrap on this Fox trip around the world in 80 seconds. Hurricane Charley slamming the coast of Florida. Maximum winds initially 145 miles an hour. But what is it as it roars toward Disney World? And where will it be as it hits Daytona Beach? We'll get those numbers in just a minute. Strong enough to rip apart buildings and yank huge trees out of the ground, and strong enough to kill. Fox reports live from an area just north of the storm. That's coming up as Fox reports live.
You're watching the Fox Report with Shepard Smith, and we are Fox News Channel.
Next time you start on your way, think about the gasoline you choose. Introducing Shell V-Power, our new premium grade gasoline. It's our most advanced fuel ever. With more than 5 times the required cleaning agents, it's specially formulated to actively clean your engine as you drive. You have enough to deal with out there. Your gasoline can make a difference if it's new Shell V-Power.
Hey, do you want to know what it's like in the locker room after the game? I know what it's like. I know you know what it's like, but I want the fans to know what it's like. Join me, George Plaster. And me, Brad Hopkins. And Bubba Miller for a look at all the Titans home games beyond the sidelines.
I'll give an up-close personal view of some of my teammates, Titan staff, and much more.
Plus, Vanderbilt highlights, action from MTSU, and more.
See you on demand.
No, it's Plaster on demand, only on Comcast.
Ultimate Tire and Car Care performs all the scheduled maintenance your vehicle needs, from alignments, brake work, and suspension. Ultimate Tire can do it all. After a thorough inspection and all of the work is completed, you'll leave with a secure feeling knowing that between Bobby, Jerry, and Jim's combined 100+ years of experience, your automobile is in good hands with mechanics you can trust. Maybe that's what sets them apart from all their tire and car repair shops. Ultimate Tires, at the corner of 12th and McGavick, just off Broadway, or call them today at 255-9880.
What's included in a sandals vacation? Everything. So for the ultimate all-inclusive for two, there's only one name. Sandals, voted world's best for a decade.
What the world needs now is love.
Book now, save up to 40%. Call your travel agent or 1-800-SANDALS.
Coming up in this hour on Headline News.
It's on! Home Center Network. Real estate by remote control. Only on Comcast TV 75. 9 to 11:30 a.m. and p.m. every day. It's on. Dig it.
Be sure to tune in to The Sally Cheney Show every Saturday and Sunday at 11:30 a.m. on Nashville's own TV 75.
Hurricane Charley slamming into Florida's Gulf Coast. Maximum sustained winds initially 145 miles an hour. A strong Category 4, and nobody predicted that. It's the strongest hurricane to hit Florida since Hurricane Andrew 12 years ago. The damage reports are just starting to pour in. I want to begin in Lee County, which is the Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Sanibel Island, Fort Myers Beach, Captiva Island area. We now have reports of 2 people killed in traffic accidents, numerous homes and buildings damaged in Cape Coral, Sanibel, and Captiva. Now up the coast in Charlotte County, which is right where the storm came ashore, you can see there, a roof collapsed at a rehabilitation and nursing center in Port Charlotte. We don't know yet whether there are any injuries. A roof collapse in Port Charlotte at a fire state, it's called. Numerous trailer homes were destroyed. At the Charlotte County Airport in Port Charlotte, winds are said to have torn apart small planes and tossed pieces of the aircraft into the air and blown out windows of a sheriff's deputy's car. Hangars were collapsed and roofs torn off of the buildings. Sadly, so far, we have no video from that area. Down the coast in Cape Coral, off Lee County, downed power lines, numerous trees and some roofs torn off by high wind. Tornado touchdown, we are now told, in southwest Cape Coral. Cape Coral just across the Caloosahatchee River from Fort Myers, once a swamp in the 60s, then sold off and developed in the 60s and 70s, and now a tornado touching down in southwestern Cape Coral, not densely populated. We don't know the extent of the damage there. Fires, we're told, and some buildings destroyed, and as you can see, a storm surge. We're just getting the beginning of it. And Jonathan Seri with the Fox Report tonight from Tampa, which was expecting the worst. And, well, it's a pretty nice night, huh, Jonathan?
It is a pretty nice night. In fact, if we're not careful, we may even be able to see a sunset. Earlier today, they thought that the eye of the storm was going to strike Tampa Bay and that perhaps parts of downtown Tampa would be under as much as 16 feet of water. Instead, the eye of the storm stayed to the south of here, and because of the counterclockwise rotation of the winds were actually blowing in this direction, away from the bay towards the Gulf, and so we didn't experience any of the flooding here, but the brunt of the damage was about 100 miles to the south of where I am. Now, in addition to those damage reports that you read, one other item to add in the Cape Coral area. The Cape Coral Hospital suffered some heavy damage to its roof, doors, and some of the windows. However, there are no reports of any injuries to the staff or patients there. Meanwhile, the storm is heading to the Orlando area, and while the theme parks are all closed, there are plenty of tourists there, and ironically, plenty of evacuees from Tampa who thought the storm was heading here and it would be safe there. One more thing to add, as the storm heads out over the Atlantic, it may strengthen again. The governor of South Carolina not taking any chances, already ordering evacuations for some low-lying areas on the South Carolina coast. Shep, back to you.
Jonathan Seri live for us in Tampa. In just a moment, we'll go to the Weather Center and get the brand new track for this storm, headed toward Disney and the Orlando area, then out toward either the Space Coast or Daytona Beach, then out into the Atlantic, and then Carolinas. Here we come.
Second there, I thought he wanted us out of the water.
But the deal ends August 22nd.
It's the Verizon Wireless Summer Splash event. Hurry into a Verizon Wireless store to get a new Samsung camera phone with built-in flash and zoom for just $49.99. But you gotta snap to it. This offer ends August 22nd. It's the Summer Splash event. Good. Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
Look, the problem is you young kids have no values.
Huh? I got this top fringe of $15. That's a value.
Get amazing values at Burlington Coat Factory's Back to School Savings Event. All top quality famous labels for way less. This season's hottest boys, girls, and teen school clothes for up to 60% off department store prices. And the largest selection of school uniforms anywhere. Burlington Coat Factory. Love labels? You'll love our prices.
Can I tell you a secret? My man takes Levitra. Let's just say he notices a difference in the experience. Like, we should do this more often to us. Why Levitra? Levitra helps improve erectile quality for men with ED. For my guy, Levitra works fast. And it gives him the quality response that he wants, time and again. It's why he counts on Levitra.
Levitra is only for men healthy enough for sexual activity. Do not take Levitra if you take nitrates for chest pains or alpha blockers for prostate problems or high blood pressure, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, and stuffy or runny nose. In the rare case an erection lasts for more than 4 hours, seek immediate medical attention.
My man takes Levitra. It's about the quality. And for him, Levitra works. Just look at that smile. Talk to your doctor today. Levitra. Quality when it counts.
Saturday. The pressure mounts and tensions rise in the Kobe Bryant case. What happens next? Late-breaking reports on Heartland with John Kasich. Then, it's a special 2-hour block, The Peterson Trial, Exposed. At 9, Rita Cosby's live from Redwood City, California, with the latest from the courtroom on the big story. Then, at 10, the fallout from Amber Fry's testimony continues. Geraldo Rivera with live reports on At Large, on the most watched, most trusted name in cable news, Fox News Channel.
We have new pictures in now that have just come to us from Charlotte County, where I told you that the airport had some problems, and as you can see, it did have problems. A number of planes tossed around there in Charlotte County. About 1,000 Florida National Guard members have been activated, another 1,000 being called up, 3,000 members on standby. Now we know 500,000 Floridians are without power now, and where's the storm going? Don Morelli in the Fox Weather Center with a look at that. Don?
Well, Shepard, the storm continues to move northeastward at around 20-25 miles an hour. We just got more information from the National Hurricane Center. Winds are still 115 miles an hour. That's still a Category 3, but we are looking for it to move across Orlando the next hour or so and then head towards Daytona Beach. And again, about 11 o'clock or so, it should start moving back offshore, at which point, as you mentioned in the previous segment, move towards the Carolinas. It looks like by morning hours, 6 to 9 a.m., it looks like it could be moving inland somewhere between Morehead City and Myrtle Beach, that area tomorrow morning. South Carolina, upper South Carolina coast also, however, should be alert for that storm as well, obviously. Once it moves back over on the Atlantic, Shepard, as always, we have to watch the potential for it to redevelop. By the time it hits Daytona, it should be a strong Cat 1, Cat 2, around 75 to 90 miles an hour still. but then during the morning hours, overnight hours, morning hours tomorrow could still redevelop. So again, we'll have to watch it, obviously, for the next 24 hours at least as it travels up the East Coast.
I'd say, and we will. Don Morelli, thank you. You're covered throughout the night on Fox News Channel. I'll be back tonight, 11 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Pacific, for live coverage and a Hurricane Charley update. We expect the storm will be in the Atlantic then. We expect we'll have updates from damage across the peninsula. And now you know the news of Friday the 13th, 2004. Wouldn't you know it? Be safe, be well, see you at 11.
The Fox Report with Shepard Smith, a presentation of Fox News Channel, the network America trusts, period.
The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight. President Bush declares Florida a major disaster area as Hurricane Charley whips through the state. Fox News is on the ground there. And the storm in New Jersey, the governor is out of